What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new. I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to all of the Honkai Star Rail character demos. In my experience with the game, I am a day one player. I didn't really keep track of its development much, but in the last week or two before its release, I ended up getting really obsessed with the game, and pretty much since I've been a daily player, much in the same way that I am with Genshin. There are certain things that I feel like Star Rail does better than Genshin, actually, and one of those things I'd say is their demos. Not consistently, but at least starting. Because though there are a lot of really good trailers for characters, especially some of the recent ones coming out of Genshin, a lot of their early ones like Kaya or Jingliu, or those a little better, Fischl, or even some of the early 5-star ones, they were a bit rough. They definitely were not representative of the quality it would end up being, where, in contrast, even just this first opening trailer we're going to get to is leagues ahead from those early Genshin demos. Now, I'm going to try not to compare the two games and their content too much, because I know that some people hate that, and I can agree that it can be annoying when done too much. I mean, they're games made by the same company. Why do we need to have them compete? But regardless, to not belabor it any further, if you haven't seen my Genshin demo reactions, in those I talk about how I'm going into these character trailers with sort of two qualifying standards in mind. One of being my actual perspective as a day one player who has seen all of these as they come out, with the exception of some of the ones pre-release, and just sort of looking at it from someone who is knowledgeable about the game and how well they do to show off the characters within that context, as well as more sort of critically looking at them as, if these are the first things people are seeing of the game, how well do they do to show off the game, and more particularly the character? Because a lot of these end up being as ads that will show up on YouTube or something. And to people who don't know the game, they'll not know a lot of the weird lore stuff that is going on. So I feel like it's important to sort of look at these with that sort of lens of how readable for who the character is it as a first exposure to the game. But to not belabor it any further, we'll just get straight into this with March 7th's trailer. I find it very funny, this trailer, because of the fact that I've seen a lot of people react to it who mistake it as being a trailer that released on March 7th rather than that being her name, which is very funny to me, because they'll just throughout the entire thing be like, did they say her name? I don't think they said her name. What's her name? And just completely miss the fact that, nope, she's named March 7th. And I just find that really funny. But like I said, I'm not going to try to compare them too much, but as you can already tell, if you've seen, just to compare to the first Genshin demo, Kaya's demo was almost more of a world and gameplay show-off than actually a Kaya demo, where this cannot be mistaken for anything but a demo for March 7th, which is great. It definitely, though they are separate dev teams, you can definitely tell that so much of Star Rail has taken what was learned from Genshin to improve upon itself, basically. But anyways, for the demo itself, it's great as an opening demo. It is very in line with sort of the style and vibe of the demos to come. Even if the quality isn't as high as it eventually will be, it is much more indicative of what to expect than not, I'd say. And I think it works just great overall, and I think it's perfect that March 7th was the first character to get a demo, given that though she's a 4-star, she is one of the sort of most important characters just from the fact that she's constantly relevant. There's very few points in the story where she isn't involved in some way, shape, or form, and she's part of the Astral Express crew, so it's great. It works really well. I like all the emphasis on the camera, given that she has a big emphasis on that. To read her description, it's actually less of a description and is literally just her lines that she just said, which is a bit odd, I will admit. But yeah, I'm going to take pictures of everything that's new to me, that way I won't forget about them. which is a great way of showing her personality and character while also acknowledging stuff about her lore that isn't necessary to someone first seeing this to understand her as a person, but would be weird if they didn't acknowledge it on the level of people who know more about her. There will be other reference to her backstory later, so I'll touch on it more then, but it works very well. I like the brief cameo of the other Astral Express crew being Welt and Dong Hung. It's great, I like it. And then we just have sort of a nice series of shots of her taking pictures, being cute, it's fun. That's what I'd say about this demo, is it's a lot of just very cute shots, which is very in line with her. But then we have sort of this one more serious moment where she touches the ice, there's the stars, and we have this brief shot of her in the ice, which is just a very quick but sort of perfect reference to the fact that she was frozen in ice for God knows how long and doesn't know who she is, and so she's trying to figure that out. And that's why those lines from earlier on and her emphasis on taking pictures is such a like great detail and stuff. But regardless, she doesn't let it linger, she snaps out of it, says a little bit of a cheesy line, but it fits for her, and then we get to sort of show her off fighting a little bit. Something I'd say they do a great job of in these demos is showing the various abilities and attacks of a character in a turn-based game while not making it like strictly obvious that it is turn-based. Like, it doesn't break up the pacing of the demos, which is nice. We got another cameo from Pom Pom. I find it interesting that everyone other than Himeko shows up, because I think it's sort of implied that the first-person perspective there is of Trailblazer in all likelihood, but, you know, it's fun. And now we will move on to Serval. I find it really interesting that Serval is, I think, the only other 4-star character to have a trailer, which actually sort of surprises me, but I'm not complaining, because I really like Serval's demo and her character. Like, when playing her story quest, though I think the way it ended is pretty perfect, during it was like, yes, join the crew, become an Astral Express member, become a recurring character, because I thought she was great. I loved her. Anyways, to focus on the trailer though, I mean hell, it has lyrics. That's something that no Genshin demo has done, and is just sort of incredible that they went and did it, but it's so perfect for her. And the fact that she actually is the one singing. It's so good. And it may be short because it's like an early 4-star demo, but it's great. Just going through it again, though, I love that little transition. I love how it opens with her just sort of walking through the town. I love all the little like paint splatter, the little glitching, the little color effects. Just everything is so stylistically great here. Yeah, and now to get her little description. This time it isn't just a line she says in the demo. Instead it is only natural to fight against what you hate. What is worth fighting for is worth fighting for to the very end. Yeah. I mean, that's very in line with her. And though it doesn't specifically say explicitly, like, she's a musician, but also an engineer, or blah, 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 it more so is going after sort of an encapsulation of her as a person, which I think is very cool. And also, at least the musician side, we don't need it to tell us, it's showing us. I mean, she's using a guitar as a weapon. A lot of the fun aesthetic stuff just continues throughout, and then we just have the lyrics come in, which is incredible. It's great. I love it. I find the pacing of it a bit interesting, how, like, they bring the lyrics in, and then they sort of pull them back for this pause moment. I love this shot, though. It's great. But then they just pull back into it, and it works great in general. Already we can see the quality going up from even just Marches, despite the fact that Marches had nothing really wrong with it, in my opinion. It's great, and it's so good. All of these demos are amazing, in my opinion. But now we get into the 5 stars, starting with Bailu.
stay cool in this dry weather.
Bailu's a character that I don't, like, care too much about, but is just cute, and I don't have anything against. And in my early playing of the game, she was a character I pulled early and served very well as my initial, like, main healer. And yeah, no, she's cute, she's great. Her personality's fun. Her demo is interesting to me. It does a good job of showing off her kit and stuff, but in its actual content, it feels a little muddled to me. But it still is great. It still is very nice. Shows her a little bit of gremlin energy there, I love. And then shows her res. I do find it interesting that they show her rezzing enemies, but, I mean, hey, that's fine. And then shows some of her nice animations. I find it very interesting that she has, like, a lot of water iconography, but then is an electric character. But given that there isn't, like, a water element in the game, it works pretty well. It's just funny because I've seen a lot of people coming from Genshin looking at this and being like, wait, is she water or lightning? What? And be just confused. It's fun. I don't have, like, a ton to say about it, but there's this sort of end bit here, which is just fun, her chasing her tail, giving just some very fun energy. Beyond that, though, don't have too much more to say about her, so I'll just get to here. Interestingly enough, she doesn't actually have much in the way of a description. It just has sort of a subtitling for her, describing her as a healer lady from the Alchemy Commission, which is fun. I like it. It's accurate. I find it an interesting choice that they don't give her anything of really description. I haven't actually really gone through and, like, read the descriptions of a lot of these, so it's interesting to see how they vary and differ from that of some of the Genshin ones, which are much more direct, strict descriptions of the characters. But regardless, like I said, don't really have much more to say about her demo, so I'm going to move on to Yanqing's. I don't know how to say his name right. I always get it wrong. But regardless,
You have to put them to the test if you
I find his demo interesting in the sense that I don't really care about his character too much outside of, like, his relation to Jing Yuan. But the demo is nice, and I think the beginning part here is a little more straightforward and simpler than it potentially could have been, but it's still got some good visuals like that. And I'd say the latter half of the demo coming up here is much more stylistically fun and interesting. And I like the sort of drop here. And I find the music a very interesting choice. They definitely have a lot more creative fun in a lot of ways, I feel like, with the demo music than they do with Genshin, but then that's in part just because it's a science fantasy thing, so they can do weirder music choices. Yeah. Once again, sort of like Bailu, I don't have a ton to say about him. Just briefly go through it here. Once again, we have a character who doesn't have an actual description, really, just a subtitle, being Laofu Cloud Knight Lieutenant, which is impressive that, despite being a literal child, he is a lieutenant, but, you know. I like that flutes are a big thing in his music, and then he has a flute on him. It's just sort of a nice little thing. I like how we can see, just for a moment, Jing Yuan in the background, implying that, based on the enemies he's fighting, this is probably more of a training exercise than anything, which is just sort of nice implications. Nice little subtle things like that are things I appreciate from demos. And yeah, just sort of gonna let this a little bit play, because I really like his ult and the sort of moment in the demo with it. I find the end line here a little cringy, but I mean, that might just be me. Anyways, now on to Himeko. Himeko. I love the style of this demo. It is so great as just a style both for her character in Star Rail, as well as it just...
I am Himeko, the navigator.
As someone who has played
The Express
Impact
doesn't have
Third,
a clear destination.
it just pulls the emotions out of me.
Destination
It,
is unique. I'm sure we're about
I
to embark
hope
on a
that
fascinating journey
she has a
together.
great life in the game and that she doesn't
I have
die.
something for you.
Like, I don't
Combat is
know.
a series of precise
I just wish the best for her.
one at a time.
And I love this demo. It's great. I love how the vibe is entirely different from others. I love this little drop here.
Never conceals its desire
I
to
love the
control.
editing choices they do with her ult. They don't just play it as normal. They, like, have these shots that they draw out of it. It's great. I love it. Pretty much my only, like, sort of
And your trailblazing journey
thing I don't
has
like about the
just
demo,
begun.
if I could even say that, is something that a couple of the other demos have had, of the fact that at the end here, when she's talking, her flip-flaps or whatever don't really line up with what she's saying fully, but, I mean, that's fine. They, in all of Genshin's gameplay, doesn't really, it's just, I don't know. It's fine. Not a big deal. Other than that, the entire trailer is amazing. I love that it shows, like, all of the crew other than the Trailblazer. But amongst that, I actually also just want to call out the fact that Welt is standing near her, just right around the corner. And, I mean, if you know anything about Welt and who he is and what he knows, I mean, I have a feeling he might be keeping an extra careful eye on her, just to make sure she's safe. Yeah, no, it's cool, and
I
I
am Himeko, the
just
navigator.
love the music.
Welcome.
I think from here on out, we might actually not have anything in the way of real descriptions, just subtitles. And they are much more direct, just saying their role, Navigator of the Astral Express. I might start just sort of ignoring them if that's what they end up continuing to be in the future, because
Welcome to
it
the
doesn't necessarily
Astral
add too much
Express.
more. But
The Express
regardless,
doesn't have
before we
because
move on, I just
every
love
passenger's
her outfit
destination
and feel like
is
I need to
unique.
say that. I love the
I'm
asymmetrical,
sure
like, just
we're about
wearing
to have a
her
fascinating
coat
journey
just sort of
together.
over her shoulder, but only one shoulder. It's
I
great.
have something for you.
And yeah, no, just the entire vibe of this trailer I love. And I just need to do this bit again, because
Humanity never
I
conceals
love
its desire to control the
what they do
heavens.
here.
I'm
It's
no
so good.
exception.
Yeah,
Trailblazing means
but leaving it there, moving on, we get to the last of the standard 5 stars, Gepard. Sibling of
I'm a captain of the
Serval,
Silver Main Guards. To
but
serve the Supreme
as he
Guard
says, he is a captain.
is my responsibility.
And
my
I find it
honor.
interesting that he's approaching Bronya here. It
Belobog
works on a
is this
variety of
planet's
levels,
Last bastion,
and I'll sort of touch on that on another go through, but
and the Silver
I
Main
like his demo.
Guards
I feel like it honestly could be a little longer. It feels a bit short, but that's fine. I think it does well with the time it has. It shows him off as a captain of a dying world,
ends here.
and shows sort of his just his vibe, you know. And I love that he fights with a guitar case,
Here to the
and I
end.
like how the music has a lot of guitar elements in there, sort of just tying him to his sister a little bit.
Only by
I love
becoming a
this
shield for
sequence
the people
here.
is one worthy of the
as-
title architect.
Easily my favorite shot of the entire demo
Trust must never
is
be betrayed.
right here.
Hopes must never
I
be
just love the
squandered.
energy that comes in with. But I'd say this is where I feel the shortness of the trailer the most,
Never be
in the
betrayed.
sense that we get this
Must never
really
be
big dramatic
squandered.
moment, which when I first saw it, I was expecting it to like sort of go into some big thing more than just showing his ult, but then it just sort of ends, which is fine. It's still a great moment. I just sort of expected a little bit more, but either way, still good. And I love at the end here this little bit of him sort of mumble singing along to his sister's music, which is just it's fun. It's a nice little implication of their connection, which I enjoy. Just to real quick go through it here, returning to this bit, this works on 2 levels because of the fact that if we're looking at this from the perspective of before the story, then it's just him going to his superior, basically. And if you go from the perspective of after the story, it's him going also to his superior, but to the Supreme Guardian, which he just made reference to, which is nice, because it isn't a spoiler in any ways, but it is sort of just directly, obviously there if you have done the story, which is nice. I like when demos do that kind of thing. I find it interesting that he's in the Supreme Guardian's office, but makes enough of sense that it's not an issue. Other than that, I like that he throws hands. Don't really have too much more to say about him. So I will move on to Seele, who I did not expect for that to be how you pronounce the name when we finally had an English voice actor to say the name. But regardless,
Here they come again.
ever since I first ran into the other version of Seele in Honkai Impact 3rd, I've always loved her character, and I love what they did with her in Star Rail. I love that she's sort of
Still here. I'm afraid
almost sort of an ideal fusion of both Seele and the other personality, which the name is blanking on me for whatever reason. Apologies. I love all the butterfly iconography. I love that she uses a scythe. It's one of my favorite aesthetics for weapon choice. And it's just so perfect that Bronya is in her trailer, and it's basically a joint trailer. They know what they're doing.
Tell me what to do.
But, yeah, no. I love what they did with their relationship as well, compared to Impact 3rd. But yeah, it... Once again, this trailer is really good. I wouldn't say it necessarily has, like, a massive quality jump compared to the other 5-star demos that we've had, but it's just great, and it's a great character, and it does really well. I love some of these, like, city shots here. I love her sort of running on the rooftops, saving a random lady. Pretty much the only issue I'd say I have with this trailer is they do that thing of, like, she starts a line and then dramatically pauses and then finishes it, just to then immediately do it again, which, like, there isn't really anything wrong with that, but something about just my writer pacing brain irks me about it, so I don't know. But yeah, just to double check, because I didn't see... Yeah, no, they don't have any kind of description or anything. Other than just saying that I like the trailer and I like that Bronya's involved. Like, I love that shot of bullet fire, but she's faster. And then I'd say my favorite shot of the demo is coming up here, being right here. I love them going between each other as they're, like, in almost the same pose. It's so good. I love it. And other than that, though, I don't think I have really anything to say about the demo itself that isn't me just gushing about comparisons between Seele and her version in Impact 3rd or her relationship with Bronya or whatever. So I'll leave it there for now and move on to Jing Yuan, another Sayu character. I pulled for them, honestly, in a decently large part because of that, but also his animations and stuff are great. I sort of wish that his character was a bit more powerful, but he's completely fine. And it makes a lot of sense that in his demo, Yanqing is in it.
Bold indeed.
But yeah, I like his energy in this demo. It's very in line with him of... He can get serious, but if he can help it, he's gonna be a bit lazy and mellow. And yeah, it's nice. It starts off pretty mellow. I love that it basically places the entire, like, demo in the fighting portions on basically a game board. And that's just great for him being essentially a strategist. And yeah, this demo is in a lot of ways more spectacle than anything, I'd say, which is in no way bad, given that the opening bit and ending bit of the demo does a great job of showing his character. So they sort of can afford for the middle bit to be a bit wacky and just more dramatic and spectacle-based. I love this shot and the following shot of his ult. I mean, hell, his entire ult animation is just amazing. It's so good. And then we return to the more mellow comp vibe of him basically having just given a demonstration, and him giving the weird line, which I find really funny, that makes very little sense of, like, have you memorized that? Yeah, good, but you'll only, like, master it when you forget it or whatever, and then it's revealed that he's just stealing pieces and trying to hide that fact. It's real fun. I love Jing Yuan. He's great, but I don't really have too much more to say about his demo. Now to Silverwolf. When I first saw Silverwolf in the, like, opening of the game, I honestly didn't expect to like her. I didn't really enjoy her voice much, but it grew on me a lot, and I very much enjoy her as a character. She's very fun, and design-wise, she's great. I find it very interesting that she's another Bronya-like. Obviously being Hacker Bunny rather than Bronya baseline, but yeah. There's some interesting shots in this as well. I love how just fucking hard they go into the gamer aesthetic for the demo. It's really sort of funny, but it works well for her. I know for some people they find the gamer girl vibe thing here a little cringy, but I think it's fun. I like it. Some of her lines are better than others, but overall I like her, and don't think she's really all that cringy or anything.
Why do
And
levels make the most noise?
yeah, just the style of this demo is really strong as well. I love
Wanna beat me?
the music, it's great.
In a century.
Once again, a lot of just pure style more than anything. I love the sort of like end rating screen, and I love that this starts the thing of each of the Stellaron hunters having a bounty and it being shown, with her, I believe, having the lowest being 51 billion, basically. So this is editing Sylvan coming in to just say I do not have any idea how I got 51 billion from that. It clearly is 5.1 billion, not 51 billion. That I don't know how I mixed that up, sorry. I just felt I needed to come here and correct my terrible, terrible math, which is a lot, but the fact that it's, I think, the least is sort of absurd. And then, of course, Dead or Alive, International Peace Corporation. Really, just this opening is the main thing I'd like to call out. She's literally just playing Impact Third. It's really meta, I love it, and I love this little banter between her and Kafka. It's really fun. I find it interesting that they have her actually lose in the game, which is sort of an interesting choice for me, but whatever. The other main shot I'd like to pull out is the fact that they actually made her, like, splash art background be basically a music game that matches her music. It's really fun, I like it. Other than that, pretty much just pure style, and I like it. It's good. Yeah, so moving on though to someone who is a very interesting character, we have a Luocha. Oh, I do not trust you, Luocha. You are a sketchy man. And it does not help that you are definitely just Otto. Oh god. Like, I mean, Luocha, I'd say, is 90% of the reason why I'm interested in going back to the intro at some point. Because there's just so much more to him, so obviously, than we've ever learned. He's a fucking enigma. And it's yeah. I do not trust this smug blonde man. He intimidates me. But anyways, yeah, the demo itself is really good. I like sort of the mellowness of the music for a lot of it, but it does sort of come up here. It is very interesting because if I were to compare him to Otto in Impact Third, I think it would be both design and personality-wise safe to compare him to not modern-day storyline of Impact Third, but much more so back in his sort of original time, where he's sort of is definitely not a good person and has like some
But I still need a pair
very
of eyes
immoral things that he's done or implied to have done,
to witness
but
your promise.
also has his moments of kindness or morality or whatever. Like he saves a child. He clearly isn't just insane like Otto was, but clearly has a certain devotion.
It's hard
And I mean, hell, the line "the dead will return," and the fact that he carries around a
to
coffin,
witness your promise.
and the acknowledgement of a promise, like that they're slapping us in the face with this guy has secrets, and they're weird and sketchy, and they probably have to do with Callan equivalent, and maybe her corpse is in there, and maybe he's trying to revive her, and who knows what's gonna go on. But I can't wait to know. Other than that, I don't have too much more to say about the demo itself. I find the change up in the music here sort of sudden, but it works well, I'd say.
The end.
And I find it interesting that he is placed fighting another abundance person, being an abundance person himself, not just in gameplay path, but also after the end of the story revealed he has connections to the abundance in general. It is not lost on me that he is in like a big field of flowers, and that is imagery that has appeared in Impact 3rd related to Otto before. But yeah, I'm basically just repeating myself that I do not trust this man. So I will move on and go on to Blade, who, oh my god, he's so edgy and I love him for that. He is absurd, and I can't believe that, well, just the range of his voice actor, given that, if I recall correctly, his voice actor also voices Linny in Genshin, which I cannot rectify in my mind how that is the same person, but oh well. Either way, the demo itself is one of the best demos, I'd say. At least for the, like, Xander ones. Because it is just so stylish and has so much great imagery to it. And it just shows off Blade really well. It just... yeah. There's a lot of great shots coming up here, and there's a lot that we've already gone past, and I'm going to talk about a lot of them on a second go through, but I love how constant the Red Spire Lily is in his demo, both in relation to him and those around him, just emphasizing the fact that he can't die no matter how much he may want to, and everyone around him dies by his blade, other than, well, the Stellaron Hunters, I suppose. And this end sequence is amazing. I love his fight with Dong Hung, even if it's just like false visions. And I love how hard the music is going, whatever this instrument is. And I love just how every single candle goes out but one. No matter what, it never ends. It never goes out. His flame is perpetually kept alight, even if just barely. And yeah, it's just so good. I love the blade drawing on the ground in that. I love the Dead or Alive. And with his art splash here in a moment, we get his bounty being 8.13 billion. Which is a lot. I might have miscounted Silver Wolves, or it might have just been way higher. Either way, I might go back and check that later, but oh well, I might have miscounted a 0. But on Blade, there's just some fun aesthetic shots here more than anything, but then we transition here and have this more somber moment, and just a brief moment with him with gray hair, alluding to that he already was at the end of his life, but that was taken from him almost, which is great. I love it. And yeah, so other than that, this is, like I said, probably my favorite sequence of just, he gets stabbed in the chest by this, like, spectral version of Dong Hung and just fucking laughs as he fights just endless ghosts, basically. His ult just blends into it perfectly to be an incredible visual. It's all just so good. And I already called out this shot. So, with that, I think I will move on to another of the Stellaron hunters, Kafka. Oh, Kafka. You are such an absurd character. I don't know if I know anyone who isn't just enthralled by her, which is so fitting for who she is.
Wasn't it you?
And
Who invited me?
it's such a perfect choice to make her music basically just a remix of just classical music. It is amazing, and just the way she controls everyone here to just kill each other,
The silk is too
and then
fragile
immediately
to
goes
thread.
into saying, oh yeah, no, the silk isn't a threat, unless you're just weaker than it, in which case, oh, well, fuck
Case
you.
in point.
And then we just basically get fucking, like, a John Wick hallway scene, practically. Which is so absurd to me. My jaw was on the floor when I first saw this. I just love every piece of it. And then she exits the elevator, and we have this
Thousands of faces.
great sort of
Why does
weird
it choose
expanding web
to wear
effect.
this one?
And we get into the much more, like, surreal, ephemeral, like,
Stealing a glance.
imagery here of, alongside all of this,
Where are
like,
you hiding?
weird movie, theatrical imagery and terminology, which is really interesting to me, but very fitting with her connection to the Stellaron hunters and Elio and
Wanna
stuff.
take a guess?
And yeah, no, it's just an amazing demo, and I think really
Heads or
the
tails?
only thing that falls a little
What's
flat for
your
me is
answer?
the end there, because it just is such a big build up with just sort of a random like thing with heads or tails on like a coin flip, but I think it works. I love how just clearly panicked all of the IPC are here. And
Don't be
I
afraid.
love just all of that initial
Listen to
imagery.
me.
I love that she uses the line "listen to me" because that's her trigger phrase to control
Wasn't
them.
it you?
And
invited me?
then the music comes in, and we get her bounty. 10 billion. Yeah. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I imagine she probably has the biggest bounty. Of the three we have, I'm pretty sure she
The
does.
silk is
But
too
I'm curious to
fragile to
see
be a
now,
threat.
once Sam gets a demo,
Unless
what
you're more
his bounty
fragile
will
than
be
the silk.
comparatively.
Case in
And if we ever
point.
get Elio as a character, what Elio's bounty will be. Because I could see him having the highest, honestly. But anyways, just letting this play out because I just love the style of it. The intercutting with the like elevator. It's so good. And then there's all the stuff here that I mentioned of music theater terms
Stealing a
of
glance.
like intermission and Finn and stuff.
Now then,
There's the one shot
Where
that
are you
happened a little bit
hiding?
ago of like the IPC soldier in chains and stuff with it like moving around their throat. And there's just so many little
sooner
things
or
there.
later, the curtain has to fall.
And I mean, hell, she practically steps on him. They know what they're doing. Other than that, I don't have anything other to say than just a really good trailer. And now, onto Don Hung, who, despite how good this character is in so many ways, I feel like this demo sort of falls flat in a lot of ways, because it spends so much time just sort of talking and giving exposition, where I think where these trailers really shine is in showing the characters more than they explain them, if you understand what I mean. But I mean, hey, visually it's still a great demo. It just, I feel like the pacing is a bit weird, that it is basically opening with some exposition and then is basically just a conversation between them, which only hypothetically could have happened in the middle of the story, which is also a little weird to me. But hey, I really like the character, and I really like the design. And I mean, hey, I don't mind Fantilia being in the trailer. Big woman is nice to have in trailer. It's just a little odd to me. And yeah, the music is good, but it sort of is weirdly varied in it. What it does, I feel like, And there's a lot of, like, wordy lines like that. But either way, visually it's still great. I like it a lot. Like, this ending bit is really nice.
I'm waiting.
And, yeah. No, it's still good. Just, I'd say it's definitely one of the weakest, unfortunately. But, yeah. Moving on now to Xuan. A character that I honestly don't care too much about, but still ended up pulling for and use a lot.
All is preordained.
But either way,
What is seen through
the demo
initial
itself is
destined
really
to be
good,
realized.
actually. Like, I
Now that
think
all elements of the past
some
have
people
taken
actually
their
sort of sleep on
places,
this demo, I think.
the
Just
future sits within
something about
my
the
reach.
visuals of this trailer really hit me in, like, a way I like. And I also like the music quite a bit.
Woes of many
I...
morphed to one.
Yeah, no, it's just good. The early bit here is pretty standard, I'd say. But it really is, like, great
The omniscience ceased
pretty
to
much
reveal.
from here on
The
out, I'd
cycles
say.
of
Like,
yin and yang never cease.
I love how the music is building up, the use of that, like, passive ability of hers, the cameo of her, and just her getting in the midst of this battle accidentally, and I like that little jittery motion, and the way the music and the visuals just shift suddenly here, I love it. It was really interesting to me when it first happened, and then the energy picks up here as she does her ult, which is such a good visual. Like, it does not deserve to go that hard, given that she's a preservation character. But, I don't know, it's great. And I love this little bit of dissing of Xing Shui. It's great. It's just fun. That's what I'd say about the trailer. Is it has its little fun moments mixed in with this sort of, like, surreal astral vibe, which is very fitting for her. And yeah, it's just great. I love it. And I'm just gonna let this little bit play again because I like it. And yeah, there's just pretty much nothing wrong with this demo, I'd say. It's great. And just now I'm gonna move on though to Jingliu, who I wish was in the actual story. Like, she's one of the most interesting characters to me in the Xianzhou, and she just doesn't show up in the story outside of, like, you know, character stories and stuff, and the very end, despite her being just so interesting. And yeah, I just want more of her. And this demo is really solid. It doesn't blow me away in the same way that some of the other trailers do, but I think that's honestly more at fault of the mood I was in when I first saw it, more so than anything it does wrong. But either way, I love how they show all of her attacks and stuff here. I love the little leaves turning to frost. I actually somehow, if you go back to my first Genshin demo reaction, mixed up that imagery of the little leaves freezing and breaking apart with a shot in Child's demo where there's a similar leaf near the camera shot. But I don't know how that happened, but either way. We're getting to the part of the demo that really shines, because once again, the music just, it hits so hard. I love it. And it's just so good how the entire demo is sort of focused on her sort of ruthlessness, while also just having this sort of melancholic vibe in the music and stuff. It's also just something about how she talks is great. And this is something I'd like to point out. This is the start of something I absolutely love that they do with the trailers, being they have the, like, typical Star Rail logo at the end, but then they stylize it to match the character, as in this case it freezes over. which I just love. I find this shot sort of funny, just because whenever I see it, it makes me think of the DreamWorks opening with the crescent moon with the person on it, but I don't know, that just might just be me, but I think it's just sort of funny. I don't know, I just like a lot of these shots, but I don't necessarily have a lot to say about them. Just I'm gonna go back to this. I love this drop, and what I'd just like to acknowledge is, like, her eyes are clear there and stuff, and then she closes them, and then she opens them, and it's just that, like, very iconically classic sort of anime style, just, like, dead eyes. I just sort of love that. It's only there for, like, a split second, but it is there. And then we have her stabbing and impaling all of these people who... some of them look like people we know. Worrying. It's great. I love it. And now on to Topaz and Numby. And I feel like Topaz and Numby is when they start to play a lot more with the vibes of the demos. Like, just the sort of almost sort of funky sound to the music here at the start. And, I mean, they know what they were doing with that line. It's just sort of pure style in the vibe of a, like, almost a high-effort promotional video almost, which I find fun. Yeah. Topaz is an interesting character, because I find her to land in a very interesting spot of... She has a great design. She has an interesting personality, but her role in the story is sort of odd. I'm curious to see. I haven't done the 2.2 storyline yet, but I'm curious to see how much of a role she has in that, given that she's shown up at this point. But, yeah, no, it's interesting. Something I will say that is interesting to me about this demo is I like how she's sort of going around collecting debts from various people, but something interesting about that is it inadvertently also causes it to be that for someone who has only seen the character demos, this is the first time they see not only Topaz, but also a lot of other characters like Herta and Asta and Senpo and stuff like that, which is interesting to me. But yeah, and then I like this sort of ending bit of it was a presentation to just a massive crowd of people from the Interastral Peace Corporation. Now, interestingly enough, they don't have a special logo for her, because I think at this point they decided to do it on the last one and probably hadn't decided that that was going to be a consistent thing, and rather that it would just be like a fun thing to do one time, but then later, of course, decided that that would be good to do more in general. Moving on, we have Argenti.
We stand against ill repute.
This demo is perfect for him. It is just that perfect amount of absurd, iconic, chivalric drama, while also just being the goofiest thing ever that is refusing to take Argenti seriously. And through that, we get some really silly things like this, as well as just some amazingly beautiful shots. It's like the perfect mix in my mind. And yeah, no, it's just so good. I love how he is basically just fucking with Pom Pom here,
on the land at the end of the universe.
as he just monologues.
It seems that you also have the qualifications of a knight.
Yeah, no, it's
But forgive me,
it's just perfect for him,
for here
and
we must part ways.
he's just way too extra, and I love it. And the music just perfectly encapsulates that. But we get some amazing shots here. Like, this, I'd say, is my favorite shot of the demo. Just something about it is so good to me. And then we get his ult, and we get the Adrilla name drop, and then we have this big dramatic build-up to, like, a dramatic final fight. But then it just sort of anticlimaxes in the best way possible of credits roll, Argenti, by Argenti, written by Argenti, and just everyone else is just an extra, basically. And once again, we get a more stylized one, which is perfect for him. Yeah, so I don't really have much more to say about him than that, other than I love that it's split up into acts. That's so perfect for the whole framing device of it. The only other thing I'll pull up is this shot, just because it is just sort of absurd how hard this shot goes to me. It is just beautiful. And it's perfect for him how beautiful it is. And it's just amazing. I love it. But yeah, with that, I think I'll move on, though, to Huohuo. A character that I honestly don't care too much about, but I like her gimmick. It's a fun one. I find how, like, scared and just wanting to retire, or resign at least, she is. It's really fun. And I find it interesting that Gwenaifen is basically just getting a big cameo in here. Once again, this would be the first time that people would see her if they've only seen the demos. But I actually really like the music to this, and it just is a very fun vibe for her, I'd say. And yeah, I'd say this demo just does a great job of capturing her vibe of she is just so afraid and doesn't want to fight, and is, yeah, it's just great. And then Tail is just wanting to fight, and it's more and more annoyed. And then she gets to something she can't run away from, and we get this sort of building tension moment as things just get too much for her, as Tail can't take it and just takes over. And we get a series of shots that are just sort of way too epic for the scared little girl. Like, the casual dodge, the music is going harder, she does the, like, banishment here. It's just so solid, and we get these really surreal visuals to go alongside it, and I don't know, it's like, despite the fact that she's not really a character I care too much about, I really like her still, and I really like the demo, and I find this bit funny that they just basically left Gwenaifen to fend for herself, which is very funny. Other than that, just gonna touch on, once again, they're doing the stylized ones. I believe at this point every single one will have their own stylized one, which is nice. I like it a lot. Anyways, Ruan Mei, or you could also call her Dr. Mei.
The soft wind beckons.
I am very curious to see if she actually is meant to be an XP of Dr. Mei from Impact 3rd, but either way, even without that, she's a really interesting character.
In a mess. Where is the home
I find it very interesting how much of an emphasis, both in her kit and her styling, her playing the instrument is, despite the main thing with her character being her being a scientist and stuff. But, I don't know, it's a just sort of fun extra element that is interesting. I like that it ties in with her music here a lot. And yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in this demo, like pretty much all the others. But yeah, interestingly enough, there's a couple shots that I feel like could fit better in her demo than they do in her Myriad Celestial trailer, which, who knows, I might react to that sometime soon, but I can talk about that more then. Anyways, though, we're getting to some of my favorite parts of the demo, in the sense of there's just all this big build-up,
The results are beyond my
but
expectations.
then it, rather than being a
Every
big fight or
petal in
anything,
life's garden
just comes to the fact that,
We'll meet a day
oh no,
when it is torn away
they're not her enemies.
by the
She's
wind's
basically
fall.
their mother,
Fret not.
but she doesn't recognize it as that.
You still
She
hold
sees
academic
nothing but
value.
the academic value. And that last line is so great to me, in just sort of giving that sort of hint to the moral dubiousness of her, which I find very cool. Yeah, no, it's just cool. And she's a very intriguing character to me, and I'm curious to see if she'll be relevant to the story much later. I think, honestly, I'll have more to say about her when I go through the characters, like, Myriad Celestia trailers. I'll leave the rest of what I have to say about her for that, because it more naturally comes up with what those show. Moving on to Dr. Ratio. A very goofy character to me. I love him, though. And I can't believe they gave him to us for free. That's fucking wild. But either way, he's so goofy. And honestly, I'm surprised that he let someone else introduce him, given that I feel like he'd want to introduce himself. And I don't get why there's so much shit with him in Bubble Baths, but I find it so funny. And yeah, no, it just pretty much all of this demo does such a great job of showing such an he's such an asshole, but in the best way possible. He has the very respectable and honorable mission of trying to educate the masses, but he just has no tact and will just dismiss you if you're an idiot. It's really fun. And I love that rather than being a fight, this is basically just him grading this little thing on its capability to fight. But the music goes so hard here. The sort of vocal fire bit here is really interesting. It goes really, I really like it. But I'd say right here is one of my favorite moments here. Just something about the way he rolls his neck almost is really cool to me.
Just as my calculations predicted.
But yeah, no, it's really solid. I don't have too much to say about it more than that, though. I will admit, though, once again, the goddamn bubble bath is what they choose to make his iconic thing, which is so funny to me. But yeah, it's just funny. I like it. But now we're into Enakoni, and we're gonna see a distinct jump in quality. This opens so ominously. It has just the Trailblazer running through the halls in just clear panic. And yeah, no, it has just such a perfect, ominous energy to open with. And she's everywhere.
What are you afraid
She has
of?
full control of the dreamscape, and she just sort of taunts us going, "What are you afraid of?"
Relax.
And goddammit, she's way too smooth with it.
Life is a winding labyrinth.
Just so many great shots like that where it really leans into the dreamscape vibe of not needing things to make sense because
Facing the present
she
and
has full
future.
control of basically
They fail
reality
to realize
within the
we're all
dreamscape,
moving toward the
and
past.
it's really cool.
Memories are different.
And
There's more
they know
than
what they were
one
doing with her.
destiny to choose
They
from.
she's great,
The road ahead
but
is visible.
coming up here we have
Open your eyes.
one of my favorite
Face
shots in
your
the
fears.
whole thing, being here with the
How else will you find the answer?
memory zone meme that is known as Death coming in, and her
There
just
might be death.
pinning it down, and this just wild shot
another
comes
guy
in
today.
as we see her ult, which is easily just visually one of the best ults, honestly. And
But fear not. Unless I erase them, you
no.
won't forget.
there's just so much great stuff here, and a lot is just pure style, but I think it's very
There's
interesting that
the road ahead.
she has death
How else
in her
will you
demo.
find-
It's very intriguing to me. But beyond that, there's not much more for me to say, I think. Which won't be the case for Sparkle, because oh my god, they went so hard with this demo. They fucking slap us in the face, or rather shoot us, to tell us this is gonna be a different demo. This is gonna be a powerful. Just this playful yet eerie energy that it opens with is so perfect for her, with just the piles of bodies, all her,
There's only one bullet.
as
Wanna play a game?
she aims it at herself
What's your wager?
and proceeds to prepare to play Russian roulette with herself. And
Like someone's in my way.
I love that she's basically not fighting these things.
Let me tell
She's
you
just playing Russian roulette and they're interrupting her more than anything.
pretending to be smart
But she won't
like
let
you
that
do.
stop her.
Then, what is a fool?
And she's pontificating about what a fool is, and
Like I do.
it's so good.
Do you
The
get it now?
visuals here are gonna go crazy in a moment in a way that is absurd. She gets shot, and we go into these insane, trippy visuals that, honestly, though it's not, like, exactly the same, vaguely reminds me of, like, Madoka Magica. Like, especially that little bit there, with, like, those. But yeah, no. It's just so good. And it captures her energy so well, I'd say. Of the pure just manic joy. And then we get her special version, but then it fades back in as we have just so many versions of her at the table. It's just on this music in, and then she just sort of teases us. It's so good. I love it a lot. Yeah, no, it's just so good. She says some interesting things in here as well that not all of them I fully know what she's talking about, but I find really interesting. Like, wanna play a game into What's Your Wager? The Life of a Faker? Like, there's a lot of things I feel like that could apply to, but I don't know what it does. Because, yeah, no, it's just really interesting. And then, just to note it here, it's perfect for her. I like how in each of the further in picture frames, she's just got different expressions. She's a different person. She's playing different characters. And then we go on here. She's playing roulette with herself. I guess actually that's probably what she's referencing when she's talking about the life of a faker, given the fact that she's wagering that in the game, but she's playing the game with herself, which would imply that the life of a faker is she's toying with her own life, which we can see visually here with the fact that she's just constantly trying to shoot herself, which is wild as she talks about how, like, a true fool is actually smart and knows how to act clueless like her. It's interesting. And I'm really intrigued by the line, "I am elation," because unless there's some shit we learn about her in the story, I don't know if she's actually like an emanator or something, but she could be. But I guess that's just for us to see. Either way, just gonna call out this shot of her phasing into everyone, as that really is the emphasis point alongside her initial appearances in the story that sort of show it's hard to trust anything in Penacony. She could be anyone. There's no telling who she is, where she is, or if other people aren't her, which is just really, really interesting. And it adds a really fun element that even if in the story she ends up just being a wild card that sort of pushes people in certain directions, toys with people, that kind of thing, it will serve such a great purpose in the story, I think, of just making us question things, which I love. But other than that, I think that's everything I have to say about her without just rambling on and on. So I will now go on to Acheron.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Penacony.
I think this is, alongside Sparkle's, probably one of my favorite demos. It, like, between this and everything else they released about her, you can tell Acheron is one of the dev team's favorite characters. And it's just so amazing. I love the sort of cameo of Sparkle it's subtle enough that if you don't know the deal of Sparkle, you might not realize that's what's going on, but to anyone who knows Sparkle, it's pretty clear. But, yeah. I find it interesting that they have her listed as a Galaxy Ranger, despite the fact that around this demo is when we really were realizing that that's not the case. But either way, it's really interesting. It's a really interesting choice to me that they have her fighting the Stellaron Hunters, because though they may just be illusions of Sparkle, it really paints a picture that they chose to have her 1v3 the Stellaron Hunters, 3 of the most powerful people we know in the story currently, and with relative ease beat them. But yeah, no, like, there's just so many great shots here, and I love the mixing in of the 2D animation elements. Just the entire vibe of this is so amazing, and I'm so curious to know, like, what they properly mean about all of this with, like, find me, find my end your origin. It's so good. And now we begin to get the black hole imagery as... It's so good! I can't take it! It's so good! And I'm gonna need to go through this so much again. Yeah, and then she basically just nukes Penacony. It's amazing. And then we return to her just standing in the rain, taking it all in, and definitely reminiscing as she lets go of the umbrella.
Apply your color.
It's so good.
Find me.
I need to know! Alright, though. Okay. Calming down. Calming down. Going through it again. Something I find is a really interesting detail is it sets the tone immediately by where, for essentially every other trailer, it would open with just black screen Huohuo logo. This time, it shifts it to the side so that she can, in black and white, be walking down the street as just all the headlines are, like, going on around her. She's walking in the opposite direction of everyone. The style is just perfect immediately. It honestly gives me massive Blade Runner vibes. I imagine some people can agree with me on that. Like mentioned before, we get the sort of cameo of Sparkle as she immediately calls it out as an illusion, and the fighting begins. All of this animation is just so solid, all the fighting animation. The music goes way too hard again. I keep saying that, but it keeps happening. I love the, like, audio layering of Sparkle and the actual person. And Acheron just starts styling on them. I mentioned it before, but I love that sort of mixing. Her fighting there honestly reminds me of, like, a fighting game, or rather like an action game like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or something. Oh, yeah, no, it's so good. And now we get into the back half, which, it's so good. This bit is so real. It's great. I love the fact that, like, the hands go around her and then just sort of, like, crush in almost. It's really interesting. I love it. Once again, this is a very sort of cyberpunky, Blade Runner-y vibe here to me, and part of that actually comes in with the line here, just like tears eventually disappear in the rain, because that's basically just a rephrasing of, like, the most iconic line from Blade Runner. I don't know, I might be insane in drawing these comparisons, but it's just so clear to me. I would be shocked if they weren't drawing from that sort of vibe, at least. But yeah, anyways, just to go back a little bit, they name-drop Nihility here. I mean, though they hadn't explicitly said that she's an emanator of Nihility by this point, I mean, that just about proves it alongside all of the other black hole imagery we get. And I just love how oppressive everything about this bit of the trailer is. Of all-encompassing, matching the black hole imagery it is. It's so amazing. And honestly, this shot of like the black hole just consuming Penacony, I wasn't expecting to ever get anything like that as a shot from the story. But then, you know, 2.1 happened and the end of that happened, and like, not exactly the same, but oh, it's so good. I love it. Other than that, I just want to more carefully go through some of these shots that like flash through here, because it goes to the black hole and then it goes to her, and oh yeah, no, okay, I was way too early. Oops. I think it's now actually here that where it is. Yeah, so we get some interesting, like, very quick shots here mixed in to the sort of back end of this demo. Yeah, okay, so we get a couple of little shots that actually are from her Myriad Celestia trailer, which is really interesting to me. And specifically, I think this is the one it hangs on the longest, and it's like her moment of defeat, basically. It's this just fuzzy memory as it is enveloped into the black hole. And it's just such good imagery. I could analyze this way too much without actually getting too much more out of it, but it's just so good. Alright, yeah, no, I'm gonna stop myself and move on to Aventurine. Aventurine's an interesting character. He was sort of the sleeper hit for me of Penacony, in the sense of I didn't expect to really care about his character, but honestly it really took until sort of the back half of 2.1 for me to realize like how good a character he was, like story and writing wise. Because I mean, as intended for him, he on the surface is just this daring, flamboyant gambler who will take any wager. But I mean, yeah, it was really interesting though in the story to see sort of a lot more of what's behind the curtain. And the demo mostly focuses on the more bravado side of him that he shows others, but there is just like a little bit of acknowledgement of the rest of his character, like what's behind the scenes, as I said, which I'd say is about the right amount. I will say that the demo is a bit odd in a few ways. I don't know, it might just be me, but it might just be because it's coming off of the heels of Sparkle and Acheron's demos. But there's a lot of great shots here, but they seem a little strange to me for some reason. I don't know. It's like he's sort of fighting, but he sort of isn't. Either way, I love the music here. I love that sort of shot that was just a moment ago. It's just really stylish, which is perfect for him. And yeah, I don't have too much more to say. Other than, damn, he's stylish. I will admit, I don't really get what he means by... Well, I get what he means by the line, unlike the house, the gambler knows exactly... What was the line, sorry? Knows exactly what they want. Which, I mean... Yeah, I guess the gambler knows what they want, but I'd say the house does to a degree as well, but whatever, it works as a fun line. Anyways, though, just to finish it out, jumping to the beginning, we have a coin falling into an alley, and someone picking it up, who it's easy to miss, but clearly isn't Aventurine in modern day, because he wears gloves. What would you do? But you can actually notice that if you take note of what the shoes and like bandages and stuff look like here from what the little bit we can see, and then jump to the very end, we go to seeing his younger self picking up a chip and looking at it. And I think it is meant to be the same. We can't, like, completely make it out, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to be. And that is the main sort of reference to his childhood and what's behind the curtain, which really solid, and it's a great way to end the demo, I'd say. Yeah, so pretty much the last thing I'd acknowledge is they went even further here with the icon of, rather than it just being a stylized version of the icon, they made a whole little, like, slots graphic that then goes into a stylized version of it, which is so great. Yeah, that's about what I have to say about Aventurine. And now, we are moving on to Robin's trailer, which, a little last-minute surprise for all of you, unlike all of the other trailers, which I have seen several times over, I have been saving myself, intentionally not watching Robin's trailer yet, so that I could live react to it in this video. So, let's see how this goes. I'm hoping it's good. Okay. Makes sense, yeah. He is a star. Yeah, okay, that's what I was hoping. It has one of her songs as the music. Interesting. Oh, yeah, okay, the classic, like, Marilyn Monroe thing. Interesting. Oh, and then... Okay, Caged Bird vibes, yeah. And then goes back into the music. Interesting. I need to listen to the EP. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. This is fun. I think this is about what I was expecting. It's basically a little music video. That's fun. Yeah. She's really cute. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's cool. Oh! Nice. That's fun. Okay, to go through this again more critically. Yeah, I like that it's very leaning into the fact that she's like a singer and actress and stuff, and like the fact that she is a celebrity. Just like her on YouTube equivalent, basically, her performing. I find that really funny, just the two random people dancing. Just all the paparazzi. But then we have this pause moment of she falls and is in the cave. Interesting. This makes me so curious to see what her role in the story for 2.2 is, and also just what her story quest is going to be, because I haven't had any spoilers yet, so I don't know how things are going to play out. But no, I love that this is in many ways basically just a music video. It's perfect for her. Yeah, no, this is great. This part's really cute. I love her just sort of dancing with random people. It's fun. You know, she's a character that I liked her design and vibe from when I first saw her, but I didn't expect to care enough about to actually pull for. But then I learned that when she ults, she just replaces the music with one of her songs, and I don't know why, but something clicked in my brain, and I went, fuck it, I'm pulling for her. And I'm trying to save up now for Sam, but they're making it hard for me. Between her and Boot Hill, they're making it hard. But I got lucky and was able to get really early pity, so that's nice. So I still have a chance. But oh yeah, no, this is great. I want to see if I can find any like little special details here. Okay, Return of Cosmic Superstar, the Empress of Melody. Robin is taking the charts by storm with her new album Inside. I like that they're sort of blending that bit between reality and the game. An unstoppable force in the contemporary music industry. Robin in action. The Queen returns to the stage. Witness the critical success of Inside. And the rest of it I don't know if we can actually read. Yeah, I think... Oh my god. The Captain and the Traveler. Just literally just references to their other games. That's fun. Okay, and then the Trailblazer referencing White Knight, unknown organism. Oh my god, they know what they're doing. Oh god. Oh, that's very funny, actually. And then just Robin, Robin, Robin. This is a really fun demo. Good smile. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah. This is fun. That's all I can really say. It's really cute and really fun, and perfect for her, honestly. I think there was a little more text there than usual, actually. Oh, interesting. I think they might have had this on some of the others, but they've definitely had just Honkai Star Rail there, but the line "May this journey lead us starward." I don't know if a lot of others actually listed that. Yeah, and then there's just random other stuff. I love how the paparazzi is lurking there behind her. This bit just intrigues me so much. I need to know. Yeah, other than that, there's one thing that I caught while watching it the first time through that I want to point out, which is coming up here. They do a really cool... Yeah, no, so looking here, they do some like stylized stuff with like the visuals of, if I am getting this right, I think... Yeah, so if you pause it once it's all there, it doesn't line up, but it's going backwards of renew your definition, which that's just a fun little added detail, which I think is really fun and is nice. Yeah, no, I did not expect to enjoy her as much as I do. I guess in the comments let me know if you guys had the same sort of experience with me of sort of suddenly falling in love with her character, if you always were gunning to get her. Hi, it's Editing Sylvan again. I just wanted to real quick comment here on something I noticed after a few more viewings of the demo. In this shot here, I didn't really notice it first, but something that sort of stuck out to me was that it's almost as if Robin has a ton of different strings attached to her back, which I feel like is a very interesting thing to tie into the other aesthetic things with like her being a caged bird and all the stuff in the lore of what's like really going on, and that they already have like a replacement for her and stuff. And I'm really curious to see what, if anything, this like actually represents for the story going forward. But yeah, that's really all I just wanted to say. I just felt this was something worth throwing in a little extra thing to mention. Yeah. With that, though, we've gone through all 25 character trailers for Honkai Star Rail. That was great. I really love a lot of those trailers. Very few of them miss, in my mind. They know what they're doing with these. And I am so excited for the future of Penacony. I can't wait for some of the upcoming characters and their demos. And I hope that any of you watching can join me on that journey, as in all likelihood I'll probably be sharing my playthrough of any future story with all of you, and of course in reacting to any new demos in the process. So I guess look forward to that, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe, like the video, let me know what you want to see from me next, and goodbye.